Off Limits is the money podcast that blows up stereotypes, showing you that managing money doesn't have to be hard.
We want you to thrive, not only with your money, but in every part of your life.
What you will get out of this podcast is real, relatable, and relevant tips and strategies that you can apply today. Hi, I'm Donald Raymond, and this is
Christine Spiak. We are money coaches, business owners, and colleagues who are passionate about helping you become more of who you are. So if you're ready, join us.
All right, Christine, so what are we talking about today?
Why is managing my money so hard? That is the topic on our minds that we really want to unpack and talk about today.
Yeah. Why is it so hard? We hear that a lot. I think I used to think it was hard. I think how I'd respond to that today is maybe it's not as hard as I thought it was. Maybe we just make it hard. But why do you think people do kind of align with this idea that managing their money is hard? Why does it need to be so hard? And is it really that hard?
I think we have to go all the way back to when we're teenagers and we start working. And we have natural savers or natural spender tendencies. We have those already built in with us. I grew up as a natural saver. My sister, my daughter, she is a natural spender, right? So as a kid, it's very easy to be that natural spender. All of your needs are met by whoever is your caregiver. So in our case, my daughter has her food needs met, her clothing, her housing, her transportation. She doesn't have to worry about those things when she's thinking about how she's going to spend the money that she's earning or that she's given. As a kid, if you choose to blow your money on XYZ, as you grow and mature and maybe you graduate high school and go off to college or you get a job that's paying you more money, you may start seeing and recognizing, okay, I got to rein this in. I can't keep spending at this level. And that's maturity. And that's maybe the people who are around you. Maybe it's your influences. But some people, they don't go into that. They don't mature into that because they just keep making more and spending more, making more and spending more, which is what we did for many years. So I could relate to that, even though I'm this natural saver. I just never really felt like, I felt like managing my money is hard. So if you think about it from that lens, you're a kid, you're mowing lawns, you're spending the money, you graduate high school, you're making more money, you graduate college, you're making more money, now you're paying for an apartment, you're paying for a car, you're paying for maybe possibly student loans, credit card debt. How do you work in there saving, creating an emergency fund if you never learned how?
I'm going to tell you what, listening to that, I started to feel some anxiety, right, coming up. I started to kind of connect back with my 18, 19, 20-year-old self, and I'm starting to realize that, yes, I'm making more money, and to your point, now I can spend more money. And I'll go back to something we touched on, at the very beginning of this show was how we were kind of raised, right? And so I'll share a little bit of that just really quickly. I was encouraged to spend what I had and to make more so I could spend more. And then not only just make more and spend more, but leverage more, right? And so now I can borrow more, which means I can buy stuff faster. I can spend even more money. And I got really good at that. My natural tendency is to try to go all in and become an expert at whatever it is I'm doing. And so at that time in my life, it was spending, it was building this lifestyle, right? I needed a house, and the house has a yard, so I need a lawnmower, and I had a car, but I qualify for a car loan, so I can go buy a different car, right? Or I can get a second car. And so I just kept stacking all of those things, and I got really good at kind of playing the game, right? I was borrowing money, I was qualifying for loans, I was encouraged or motivated rather to work harder to make more money so that I could put more toward payments that allowed me to have more stuff, right? And and that's what, you can kind of hear it in my voice, I think, this anxiety, right? Like, as I connect with that immature version of myself, which I'm by no means mature now, but I was way less mature then, man, I like that induces a little bit of anxiety as I think about what I was doing, who I was, what was motivating my decisions and my behaviors. And that's something you talk about all the time, is the behaviors associated with that. And so, yeah, and I wrote down a question while you were talking. So do you identify, this is a question for just the general audience, right? Do you identify with one or the other, the spender or the saver, or are you a little bit of both? And I think I might even suggest that everybody has a little bit of both in them, you know? And so sometimes it can be really hard to figure out, am I the spender or am I the saver? Like, the worst thing could be for a saver or somebody who's actually a spender to believe that they're a saver, right? And so now they think they're a saver and they're out there spending, but thinking they're doing it the right way. They're using the credit system, the point system, the reward system. They're trying to put money back towards savings, but they're using spending as a tool to do it, you know, and that can get really dangerous.
And again, you're just spinning your wheels and you're not really going anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Except maybe further and further into debt. So if we take this idea that it's a behavior, right, there's definitely head knowledge to it, because the other piece of it is when you did start earning money, and I'll go back to the example of mowing lawns or babysitting, if you didn't have somebody teaching you, well, take some of that and take a portion of it and save it, take a portion of it and spend it, and take a portion of it and maybe give it and invest it into your future. If you don't learn that when you're young, then when you do start making a bigger income, a salary, it's like, wow, now I'm making bank, right? Are you really going to have the habit built in place, the behavior to start saving and giving and investing? Or are you just going to keep spending it all? And if you didn't learn how to do those things, then you probably also didn't learn how to manage the money that you're making. So while it is, yes, a little bit of head knowledge, it's also a lot of behavior. So if we can start out with great behaviors, then the more money we make, we're just using those behaviors with the increased income.
Yeah, we talked, a title of our last show or 2 shows ago was More of Who You Are, right? And I mean, this really speaks to that. I feel like it's this idea that, and I said it, you know, I just got better at repeating, right? And doing these behaviors, these habits that I had learned, I just got that much better at them, right? And as I earned more or added on jobs or, you know, did contract work to try to generate more revenue, I leaned into what I was doing, what I was already doing. I wasn't looking for an alternate path. I wasn't even aware of an alternate path at the time. I was just leaning in really hard to, looking back now, getting into debt, deeper and deeper debt. And so, you know, with that in mind, getting deeper into debt, putting these habits to use, we touched on, again, in a previous episode, we talked about these habits and how we all have, one theory anyway, is that we all have a certain number of habits. And while we can teach ourselves new habits, the only way to truly change your behaviors is to replace, not erase, right? We need to replace the bad habits with good habits rather than try to just eliminate the bad ones, right? And I think the same goes, you can kind of apply that concept to this spender saver mentality, where if you're only ever trying to save and reduce your spending, is that a good, and I'm asking the question, right? So what do we think about this idea that I can spend less and I can save my way to a more financially healthy place? And does that have a limitation versus my income as a vehicle, right? So one of those has a limitation associated with it, the other one doesn't, right? And so if I'm focused on saving, the limit is I can only get down to 0. But if I'm focused on income, there really is, the only limit that I impose on that is my willingness to transform time into dollars, right? Do work, do different things. But then the question becomes, what do we do with those dollars? How do we associate and learn these better behaviors that are going to, help us balance and create a sustainable lifestyle between the spender and the saver, whether it's an internal struggle or it's in a relationship, right?
Right. Because we don't want the extreme on either end. We don't want an extreme spender or an extreme saver. You want to give yourself permission to spend the money that you're working hard for. But at the end of the day, it's hard because you don't have a plan for it. You're just kind of living on this hamster wheel of make more, spend more. Maybe it's make more, save more, but are you saving as much as you could be if you don't have a plan for your money? The other piece of this that I find really interesting and intriguing is why managing money is so hard is when you think about it from a consumer perspective and how advertisers are really coming at us. They don't just know us like we know us. Ourselves, they know us better than we know ourselves and our habits and our spending, and we all see it when we're scrolling through our social media feeds or we're looking at our email and we see an ad pop up. Why are these ads for things that we either want for ourselves or we're looking at buying for the people in our lives? We are being targeted every day through multiple media channels and ways and avenues. And it's not even just coming at us through that. It's also personal selling. I just spent $80 on Girl Scout cookies because 3 nieces and my friend's daughter are selling Girl Scout cookies. So that's personal selling, right? So whether it's Girl Scout cookies or essential oils or Pampered Chef, right. We have a human face who's coming to us to sell. We have product placement. People or companies put things on shelves on purpose, and a lot of times they're paying for that product placement. When
and
you
they're
walk
good
into
at
a bookstore, yes, they're good at it. When you walk into a bookstore and you see best-selling books, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Donald. What were you going to say?
This marketing thing, just while you were talking, I thought, you know what, I need to Google that. I need to see what the marketing dollars, because we track everything, right? It's just the American way. We get metrics for everything. So marketing dollars are one of those things that we have been tracking now for decades, and it's continued to go up. Last year, the marketing budgets, the commercial, professional, industrial marketing budgets, increased over 13% from the year prior. So to put that in perspective, so employees might have gotten a cost of living increase, maybe 3 to 5%, right? But they increased their marketing 13%. So that where your wallet goes, the feet follow, right? We said where the mind goes, the feet follow. But where you're putting your money, that's what you're focused on. That's where you're seeing the return. So they put 13% of their money into their marketing from 21 to 22. That was an increase that took the marketing industry, over $300 billion for the first time. And
was that a B? Did you say with a B?
Billion, yes, billion.
Wow.
300 billion nationally for the overall marketing budgets collectively for the companies that are tracked and participate in this. So it's obviously not going to be a total representative sample, but it's a lot regardless. And not just over 300. They said it was in excess. This is from Forbes.com. It's listed as being in excess of $320 billion. So it got over 300, but it went $20 billion farther just in 1 year shift.
So don't you think this is a little bit, or maybe a big piece of the insight of why managing your money is so hard?
Well, I was just going to say, so why is it so hard, right? I mean, think of the impact, think of the influence. I mean, how many of us consume marketing in some way, shape, or form? Everybody has to admit that we all have to admit that, right? We're consuming it. I mean, we're interacting with our phone, we're watching YouTube. You and I are utilizing some of those platforms to do this, and we're really relying on the natural kind of organic traffic and the ability to show up on searches. Well, that's what they're doing, but they're buying those things, right? And they know how to do it. They're so good at it, converting your attention into a decision to separate and part with some of your money. They've just gotten so. I shared a story over a year ago now on financial fitness, and it had to do with an impulse buy. It was Christmas time, and our son wanted a punching bag, and so we just quickly went and found one on Amazon, bought the thing, came home, and I unpacked this whole series of events. The net result in which splashed sand and like wet sand all over his playroom.
Oh,
because it was this weight down in the bottom of this this like stand up punching balloon. And he decided, he was taking jujitsu, and he decided not to just punch it, but to do a takedown. And so he started doing takedowns with this thing, and the bladder in the bottom that had this sandy, wet, nasty stuff in it that was holding it down and upright exploded, and it just went everywhere. So it was a big mess. But we learned our lesson. You know, it was an impulse buy. We made that decision in less than 10 seconds. I mean, it was, hey, let's get one. Here it is. You know, it's eligible for same day shipping, 1 day delivery. Boom, we had it the next afternoon, and he was using it, right? And so, but it was one of the biggest mistakes we ever made. We had to return it. We got our money back, and we went to a local store, and we actually went and tried out a few different products before we made a purchase. So we slowed down, and we did it the right way. And for roughly the same budget, we ended up with something that he still uses today. It grew with him. It's a heavier bag. It's, you know, it's different, and it's something that he continues to use. So, but I mean, that took a learning curve.
Let me just ask you something in there. Or not ask you, but bring up a point that it's the convenience.
Yes.
It was so easy to go on Amazon, click and buy now, have it in 2 days, and you have it in your home. And it's not just Amazon. No. You can go to Dunkin' or Starbucks and reload your coffee apps right on your phone, and you can set it up to auto reload. You know, Chick-fil-A, any of these places that really takes the friction out of you spending your money, eliminates steps for you to decide, do I want to spend my money on that?
And you know, it's interesting. It's a little subliminal. They are now taking the decision of how much, excuse me, how much you're going to spend. They are now imposing that and making that decision for you. So you talk about the reloading the cards. We participated in a Chick-fil-A program for a while, and they set it up so that auto reloading, and everybody will identify with this, I think, because we're all using the same stuff, right? But it was in increments of $25. So I couldn't just pay for my meal. I had to pay for my meal plus enough to get it paid for in increments of $25. So if that meant that I was 1 penny short, I had to spend another $25 for that meal. So to reload the card. Yeah. And so it reloaded automatically, made it very convenient. But all of a sudden, there's money leaving my account that I haven't even spent yet, but now it's committed to Chick-fil-A, right? They've just taken an extra $25, and we don't think about it that way.
Right. And so now let's talk about another one. Let's talk about sales and promotions. And a lot of times they're coming to you in your email because you've shopped there before. Mm-hmm. So now they know you've shopped there, whether it's a company like, say, Patagonia, or a company like Yeti. Maybe you've bought Yeti products or Apple products, whatever it may be, wherever you shop. Now you're getting emails from these companies with offers. And then it's a holiday. It's President's Day. It's Christmas. It's July 4th. There's sales. So that's another way that they're just infiltrating your mind, your space, your inbox, your feed to get you to spend money.
Absolutely. And the websites are built to do it and exploit it. So we're shopping. I've got another personal example. I'm starting to feel like I might be more of a spender than a saver all of a sudden. But we've had our mattress for a while now, here at the house, and we just started this conversation recently, hey, maybe it's time for a new mattress. And so we started shopping around, and we found a couple that we liked. And so we kind of put our preferences together about what we might buy. And online shopping does make it more convenient. I'm a huge fan of that. And I shared a story not too long ago where, again, with my son, I took him to a mattress firm store, and he went through the sales process, with the salesman. We ended up not making a purchase that day, which I think was a good lesson. But we learned a lot. And that experience for me really kind of solidified that I didn't want to go into a mattress store to go buy a mattress. I wanted to go see what was out there, kind of shop the industry and the market, and see what kind of new technology or whatever was available in that space, right? But all that to say, we hit a couple of websites, and now I'm getting daily emails. I didn't subscribe for anything. I didn't accept anything. I didn't accept cookies that I'm aware of. I didn't sign up for a newsletter. But I now, there were 2 mattresses specifically from this one manufacturer that we were interested in, and we clicked on both of those, obviously. And now I am getting daily emails saying, hey, we noticed you were here. You were interested in this product. We wanted to, make you aware of a discount if you will make your purchase today. So, I mean, it's almost predatory, right?
It makes me a little angry, actually.
It can.
Because they have the power, they have the scientists, they have the neurological understanding
all the analytics
of how to prey on how to prey on consumers.
And that's what happens, I think. You're right. It becomes predatory, and they are preying on people who don't have, you use the word maturity, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand or be misled by that. We're not saying that people are immature, but we're using that word as just an adjective to say, you move from a space of being kind of a beginner to then being intermediate and then becoming a pro, right? And so we're all somewhere on that kind of, continuum.
Spectrum. Right.
Yeah. And so, right, if you're on the early side and you've just gotten the new job, the first lawnmower I bought, I probably shouldn't have bought. I didn't need to buy an expensive lawnmower, but the guy that was selling the lawnmower said that one was better than the other one. So I didn't know. And I had the ability to pay for it, or the ability to, leave with the lawnmower through some sort of a financial transaction. Whether or not I owned the lawnmower was a totally different story, but I was able to leave that store with a lawnmower that maybe I should or maybe I should not have purchased, but it wasn't my decision. I went in looking for a lawnmower. The salesman sold me the lawnmower that he wanted me to buy, right? Now when I buy things, nobody tells us what to buy. That sounds a little arrogant, but like, we do our homework, right? We spend time. We know that
a different mindset.
Absolutely. And we know that if we spend a little extra time making those decisions, we're going to be okay, right? These aren't emergencies. Lawnmowers are not emergencies, right? They're a luxury. I could go cut the grass with scissors. It would take a while, but I could do it. And so making time and taking the time, having the discipline and the maturity and slowing down a little bit. And I'm probably skipping ahead to a different part of our episode here where we're making recommendations, but slowing down to make those decisions, we've just found to be very helpful.
Well, let's, I think, transition into that. So how can you really empower yourself to, are you a spender or a saver? So learn what you are, and then learn how to manage your money in that space.
Absolutely.
So let's go with I'm a natural spender. Put up some barriers between you and you spending your money. One thing you can do off the top of my head, unsubscribe from these emails. It's a little itty bitty word at the end of these emails, but just go in there, unsubscribe.
Yes.
Take your saved credit card or debit card out of your online shopping, wherever whether they're websites or apps or wherever you have that information saved. Take it out. So every time you go to make a purchase, you have to re-enter those 16 digits and put in your expiration date and put in the code on the back of the card. That creates more friction. Are you going to get out of bed or get off of the couch to go into your wallet to get the card out to buy whatever is in your shopping cart? And if it's in your cart, leave it there for 24, 48 hours. Sleep on it.
Yes.
We live in a society where you can really buy anything you want whenever you want. So whether they're telling you time's limited, it's the last one, it's not. It's going to be there. Maybe it's a different retailer, maybe it's a different price, but it will be there. So let yourself sleep on it. Leave the store or leave it in your cart, in your electronic cart.
Just be willing to say no, right?
You could do.
Be willing to say no. Be willing to leave without the product. Be willing to spend one more day with the stuff you already have, right?
Right.
Not replacing it with that new thing. Because the other thing that you'll learn, and I'm connecting with everything you're saying so much, because unsubscribing has now become like kind of a fun thing for me. I enjoy unsubscribing and giving the feedback. This is not something I'm interested in. This is something I was interested in, but I found a better product. Like giving that feedback to those manufacturers, they're asking for it anyway. And so now I actually get a little bit of satisfaction. It's not something I look forward to doing, but I do enjoy getting that clutter out of my email. And I no longer, because I've taken that action so many times now, that's the activity that's associated with that email instead of clicking on the link and going to see what the new thing is, right? So it used to be that distraction or that encouragement to go buy. Now it helps to feed my healthy habit of unsubscribing and providing feedback, letting these manufacturers know I was just looking around, or I thought I was interested, but it's not the right one, or there's a newer version of this, or you have a competitor out there that's doing it better. Like, I really enjoy providing some of that feedback and getting the clutter out of my inbox. We used to have a rule that you talked about, creating the barriers, the friction, the time. We had a rule when we started this process this is 17 years ago. This was extreme, but we said, we're going to wait 6 months before making these buying decisions. 6 months. How many of those original decisions do you think we actually executed?
Yeah, I would say slim to none.
Zero. None of them. So there was always something else. And your comment about there's always something to buy, these limited time offers, it's all a ploy. It's just it's something that's supposed to get you to take the action to execute the sale, right? To execute and complete a transaction. So absolutely, there's always going to be something to buy.
I want to give you something else to think about in terms of when you do choose to spend your money. All right, now you've decided, yep, I'm here. I want this thing. I hold my phone in my hand. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, I've decided I want this thing. Is it going to ask yourself, is it a need or a want? Did my phone break? Is the screen, cracked? Can I not use it anymore? Or do I just want the latest phone because it has a better camera? Will it add value to your life? Will it bring you joy? Is it a need or a want? Why are you buying it? And is it in your budget? Can it wait? Do you have the money to buy it now?
There it is. Did you budget?
Right. Or are you saving 3, 6 a year, 3, 6 a month, 12 months for it to buy it then? And is it the right time? Is it the right retailer? So don't just give into your impulse if you are that spender where it's okay to be a spender.
Absolutely.
We don't want you to never spend money, but we want you to be in control of when you're spending it, where you're spending it, and what you're spending it on. We want you to feel empowered, not feel like it's the advertising. It's the keeping up with the Joneses. It's all these other outside influences that are really controlling the way you spend your money. And also, I want to get one more thing in there, Donald.
Yeah.
Are you living your life by looking in the rearview mirror, or are you looking out the windshield? If you're doing all of this spending and you're putting it on financing, you're putting it on a credit card, you're putting it on, the auto refill, like we talked about with Chick-fil-A, that means you're living in the rear view mirror. That's how you're living your life. If you're spending with cash in your debit card, then you're choosing in that moment today where you want that money to go in the future. Just something else to think about.
No, and that's huge. Thinking about the future, it's difficult. So as you know, Christine, I volunteer as a finance representative for our local church, the church that we attend, and I've been in a position in the past 12 months to be able to help other churches kind of level up their financial capability, their financial health as well. That's kind of a whole separate effort, but it's opened my eyes to something that I think really aligns, and I didn't think of it until just now when you were saying that, this idea of why is it so hard? And I think one of the reasons is because it's impossible to see the future. None of us know what's going to happen. But there's so much fear associated with what could happen, not what will happen. So it's interesting to me that you can sit down with somebody and say, okay, well, if we take this action, if we implement this policy in a church or make this decision and create this rule in our household for something like saving, right? I'm going to put a certain amount of money into an investment account and I'm going to leave it there so that it grows over time. It's interesting to me that we're so willing, just as a general comment in our society, to say, yes, but the market, what if it crashes? What if everything implodes? What if I lose that money, right? So that's one side of it, and we're willing to say that. But the opposite seems to not be true, where you should be, quite frankly, just as fearful of what happens to that money if I don't invest it, right? So you just said, what about the future of the money? So the saver says, put that money away. The spender says, we need things to survive, so we need to buy them, right? So there's a place for both of these people at the table. We need them both. And spending can also be kind of repackaged as a shopper, not just a spender, but a shopper. And a shopper can be invaluable in that relationship, where a saver just refuses to buy anything. and you end up in these like emergency scenarios where I'm not spending any money, but now I'm out of gas, I'm out of food, right? My clothes don't fit because I refuse to spend money. The shopper, the spender, enjoys shopping and enjoys the habit of spending. So with a certain set of parameters and rules, they can be just as, if not more valuable to that partnership than the saver, right? So I would say that these two roles are very equally weighted. And if you have both of those as your own personality, you can handle your own finances just fine, right? So but this kind of unhealthy fear of the unknown that we impose this negative scenario that we're scared of to do nothing, but we're unwilling to impose the positive, opposite scenario to that same problem, right? That says if I invest the money and it grows, I'm giving up all of this opportunity cost if I don't take that action, right? So $20, no, it's not 20, it's $100. When you're 20 years old, if you invest $100 every month into an IRA, by the time you're 42, I think it is, you're a millionaire, right? That's been true. Take any 25-year period ever in history, in the documented history of our economy, as both national and global, any 25-year period, and that's true. But there's a fear that the next 25 years isn't going to return that result. So are we making informed decisions? Are we making healthy decisions? And is it hard because it's hard, or is it hard because we're making it hard?
And I think it's also hard because it's for the people who, well, I'm living in the moment. I'm living for today.
Yep.
The future is so far off. When you're a youth, you're not thinking about when you're 20, 21, 22,
No.
retiring, right? You have a whole lifetime to work before you get there. So there are a lot of things that go into why managing money is so hard. And hopefully today we've given you some insight into that. And then we'd also like to set you up with some success or some next steps to, all right, now that you have some awareness, what can you do?
Yes.
Do you think it's time for us to move into that part of our episode?
I think so.
So if you've been listening to us or continue to listen to us, we're going to share a quote and an action step and a book with you each time, or as often as we feel that it's relevant and that it's going to add value to do so. The quote today that we want to share with you is by Warren Buffett. I think many people know who that is. Huge billionaire, very, very successful businessman. And the quote that he said goes back to behavior. The most important investment you can make is in yourself. So if managing your money is hard, look within and find out, what can I change to not make it hard? The action step that I'd like to share with you is gain clarity, gain insight into your own money behaviors and making changes to create better habits. In the short term, just right off the bat, put barriers between you and your money. Unsubscribe from emails. Take your credit card, debit card out of these accounts. Make it difficult for you to spend money. Is it a need? Is it a want? Go through the questions we talked about. Does it add value to your life? Why are you buying it? Is this the right time? Is it in your budget? Can you afford it now? Long term, learn how to create and live on a budget. It's your plan. It's your roadmap. It's truly how you can stretch your money and do more with it. We're going to put a quiz into a Rutgers University financial fitness quiz, really short, 20 questions. That'll give you some insight. And then the book recommendation by Rachel Cruz, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, Discover Why You Handle Money the Way You Do and What to Do About It, will also bring you insight into your behaviors and why managing money is hard for you. So what say you, Donald?
So I was just going to say one thing that I neglected to mention. I just want to speak to the shoppers out there because, like I said, it's interesting. I'm starting to align, I think, more with my shopper side during this conversation. We all like to buy stuff, but my saver mentality has luckily, transitioned us throughout the years to a position where we can spend money now, but we do it intentionally. We don't spend money just because we have money to spend. And so I think all of those rules apply. And when you're getting started, it's healthy, I think, to have, you heard my example of the 6-month rule. It's healthy to make it kind of impossible rules, right? And try to stick to them, right? And then you kind of get a real taste for what it's like to be under control, right? Be held accountable to these rules. And then you kind of refine them as you go. 6 months might be in just ridiculous. Maybe you need 24 hours, right? Maybe you just need time to have a full, complete idea. And then if you're in a relationship with someone and you're sharing finances, have that conversation with your significant other so that you're both on board with that decision. But speaking directly to the shoppers, there's plenty of people out there that really appreciate, and we've kind of bagged on the automated tools a little bit. And I do think that they, by and large, we shared the numbers, over $300 billion spent in marketing. Obviously it works, right? And that's why they're leaning into it. But we can leverage those same tools for our own benefit. And so apps like Honey and a handful of others, we use Honey, that you install on your shopping devices, whether it's your phone, your tablet, your computer, install it on all of them. It's a free service, and it will scour the internet no matter where you're shopping, whether you're on, so I use Sweetwater a lot, B&H, Amazon. I shared a story earlier about shopping for a mattress. So as you're on these sites, this app is running in the background. And many of you may be using this one or something similar. And it is looking for discounts. It's looking for coupon codes. It's looking for ways to save you money on the things that you're going to buy anyway. So leverage that power. If you're going to shop for the things you're going to buy, make sure you're getting the best deal and use some of this technology to your benefit.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
But just in the end, you be the person to decide if you want to spend your money on it.
100%. You make the final call. Absolutely. And do it together. And I cannot stress, Christine, you mentioned it. You said make your budget. The budget is going to be the foundational element of all these conversations. There's just no way around it. We have to, planning and spending go hand in hand, and it's just a budget. That's what it is. Planning and spending and being intentional and getting informed and knowing what you're spending, what you're buying. That's the activity of a budget. It is the single most impactful thing that we can do. So I love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for everything you shared today, Christine. This was great.
This was a great conversation. I'll definitely put Honey on my list of something to look into because I'm not familiar with it.
It works, and it works well. There's others out there, and I think depending on your shopping style and habits and what you're buying, there's different apps that might work better. So same deal, same rules apply. Find the one that works best for you, right?
Yeah. My husband uses Rakuten.
Yeah, there you go.
Likes that one.
Yep. Awesome.
All right.
Well, until next time.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Off Limits.
Beyond the podcast, we are money coaches who want to help you.
So if you are looking for help managing your money, use the links in the description below to contact either of us and learn how coaching can help you thrive.
Lastly, please help us to spread the word by subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing our podcast with your friends and family.